Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome on M365 Free Virtual. Big thanks to our sponsors to create opportunity to make this event happen. Today, I will talk about how to integrate PowerApps with Teams or Teams with PowerApps. I can switch these services to get better outcome, but the question is the same. Few words about me. My name is Marcin Siewnicki. I live in Warsaw, in Poland. I am architect and consultant in ISCG company. I'm also a SharePoint Saturday Warsaw organizer, one of organizer, and I focus mainly on Microsoft 365 Teams and SharePoint Online. Okay, so quick agenda. Quick introduction. What's Teams, what's PowerApps, how to integrate them, what different types of PowerApps and different ways to integrate each other. Then I will talk a little and mainly show you how to get context. So what does it mean context, what we can achieve using context in PowerApps. Then we will make a package from our PowerApp and upload it to Teams, and I will show you what we can use and what possibilities we have to manage this app in Teams. So why PowerApps in Teams? Why do we need to integrate those two tools, services? Well, Teams is a hub for teamwork. We have great place for files, for meetings, dedicated space for calls, communications, great tool for communication, and a lot of space and flexibility to integrate applications, third-party applications, applications from Microsoft 365 stack, etc. But the best or the main reason why do we need to integrate PowerApps or use PowerApps in Teams is because Teams is a hub for teamwork, so we can build place for our project, for department, for other purpose, but it's a team, and then we can create or integrate mostly all of the workloads that we use outside Teams and use it inside Team. So we can create one digital workplace for our work. We don't need to switch between apps, between tools, between browsers, tabs, etc. We can create one consistent tool, one space when we can work, collaborate, share files using apps and using PowerApps. So that's why it's important to know what we can use and how we can use PowerApps in Teams. Going to PowerApps, it's a great tool. I will back one slide back. It's a great tool to create not only forms for SharePoint Online, but it's the main purpose or the main strength in PowerApps is that we can create a business application that can integrate external data sources or Microsoft data sources and show those data to user, allow some actions, create forms, some logics, etc. And we have, well, three types of PowerApps: Canvas apps, model-driven apps, and portals. So Canvas apps is typical and I think mostly used type of PowerApps, and we can create or build a business application using Canvas apps. We have a lot of flexibility, a lot of built-in controls, actions, etc. We can use also this type of PowerApps to modify or to customize SharePoint Online forms. We have also model-driven apps. This type is mainly used for Dynamics 365, and it's more it's easy to create and use Dynamics model behind it. And we have portals that we can use to present data and allow external users or even anonymous users to integrate, to interact with our data, with our processes, etc. So we have these three types of PowerApps, and each of these type has slightly different possibility or way that we can use them in Teams. For Canvas apps, we have tab in channel, or we can use personal app. There's also third type, third way to integrate Canvas apps. It's a website tab. For model-driven apps, there's dedicated Dynamics 365 app, so you can use this app and load this PowerApp. And for portals, we can use only website control website app in Teams. So in this session today, I will focus only on Canvas apps. And for Canvas apps, I won't touch SharePoint Online forms because it's dedicated only to SharePoint Online, and it's simply easy. Okay, so now let's switch to my demo, because my session is mostly demo. I don't know how to create a lot of slides, so I only finish with 5, 10, and the rest of is demo. Okay, so this is my Teams. Okay, I will create quickly a new team. Let's say it will be a private team. Philly, that's it. Okay, so we start with basic team with a general channel, and we can add some tabs. And the first and the most basic way to add PowerApp to Teams is to click this plus button. It will load us a list of available apps for our team, and we can use website. This is very basic and very straightforward way to integrate any PowerApp that we can, any Canvas app or portal app. So I must provide some name for my PowerApp. Let's say website PowerApp, and I must provide URL to that app. So I must go to my PowerApp center, and let's say risk assessment. This is one. Can go to details, and there's a web link, so I can open this PowerApp as a classic web page. So I can go and copy link, go back to my Teams, and paste this URL here. Okay, and save. And now my PowerApp is loaded as a classic web browser site, as classic website, internet site. So it works. There's always a small at the top of the page, small text that if your tab isn't working correctly, you should refresh that tab. And from time to time, using website, you have to refresh this tab or log into this tab. It happens occasionally, but it happens. So it works. It's easy to use this kind of tab, but sometimes it requires you to sign into PowerApps from every, I don't know, maybe few months, or you will have to refresh that tab to reload your app. So as you can see, there is some error message because my PowerApp require additional additional flow. Okay, closed. So it's the first very basic, very straightforward way to use to integrate PowerApp inside Teams. So you can add website, and that's it. But we have other way. The second way, and I think it's the most advanced, and you should use this form, is to use PowerApps application for Teams. There's a dedicated component that we can use to embed any power up that we created or someone created for us, and we can use it to integrate power up with Teams. I will click this one. I must first add this component to my team. And now I have two options. First, I can select any existing power up that I have access to, or I can create a power up from scratch. And if I will start from this one, from creating an app in PowerApps, because if we go to PowerApps and if I click create and click Canvas apps for blank, so I can choose is it phone layout or tablet layout and put some name, and then I can configure parameters with height, etc. But if I go my Teams and click this one, create an app in PowerApps, it will start designer for PowerApps with predefined settings. So it's ready to use in Teams. So it's scalable, and I don't need to provide any parameters and height, width, etc. So if I go, this is my blank PowerApp. If I go to File and I must save it first. Okay, I will save it. Okay, and save. Good. So if I go back to my file, to my settings and screen, as you can see, there's landscape and 60:9 resolution by default. So it's predefined settings for Teams. The other settings are default, so we can use it as we want. So for this, I will quickly add some label. Yeah, make it big. Yep, and make it big. Where's big? Font size 50 maybe. Yes, good enough. I will save it. Publish to be, yes, publish. Okay, it's published. So if I go back to my to my Teams and click this refresh button, here we are. Our M365 Power App is on the list, so I can click it and save. And we start with this Power App as a new tab in my channel. Okay, it works mostly the same as the version with a website, but this type has more possibilities and more configuration options. So keep it in mind that we can use this, and you should use this dedicated PowerApps app in Teams. Website is you should keep it only for portal PowerApps. Don't use it. I think that there's no really need to use it for Canvas apps. There's also one use case when website is good to use for Canvas Power Apps. If you for somehow need to integrate SharePoint online form or SharePoint online Power App into your team, then you should use website, because there's no other way, because SharePoint online forms customized by Power Apps won't be visible in this list for Teams. So use website for this. But if you have classic Power Apps, Canvas Power Apps, use Power Apps application as a tab. Okay, so we have this second option. We can use this in dedicated app in Teams. And what's funny, we can add the same Power App multiple times. Okay, load. Loading. But we can use the same PowerApp multiple times in one channel. So there's no restriction on one PowerApp per channel or something like that. We can use it multiple times, but okay, for some reason it won't. Okay, so there's fill again, save. I have second tab with my PowerApp. What's the very important? If you add PowerApp using this method, or in fact any other method, you must provide access to this PowerApp. So you must share your PowerApp. Where's my PowerApp? Here. No, here. So you must share your PowerApp to every member of your team. If you won't share it, the users won't be able to load this app, and they will get an error message. So that's not good for them, because they will spam you with chats, with emails, etc. So we don't want this in our team. So create PowerApp, add it as a PowerApp component in Teams, in channel, and before you add it, or before you share information about that PowerApp, grant access to every member of that team or of a private channel. Okay, and there's also a third method. Third method is if you want to, I as a user, as an end user, I can go and click this more app, and I can add this. There's no PowerApps. There should be. I can go there to these three dots, search PowerApps. Okay, and I can add the channel. It's not here. Okay, I can add this PowerApp as a tab for my in my left-hand menu, so it will load for full width of my team. As you can see, there's this some test, my test app, or this the biggest, so it's full width, and there's no navigation for channels, for teams, etc. So we have only app on our screen, and it's a good place, or a good way. Yes, some error, because this PowerApp is designed for team, for channels, and it's a good way to create a PowerApp for generic PowerApps, like maybe some sales app or help desk app. So we can add it in our left-hand menu and use it in everyday work. And using this way, we can allow end users to add this app by themselves. So I, as an end user, I can go there and add my own individual app, or we can block this for end user and add this automatically using Teams Admin Center. I will show you later how to do this. Now, let's stay only on this feature. So we can use, this is the third way, we can add our PowerApp as a application in our left-hand menu, and in this way it's not connected to any channels and any team. So it's globally or available in our team navigation. Okay, I will switch to my slides for a moment. So Canvas apps, we can use website, but it's not useful as a tab. It's the main way to use it. I strongly suggest to use that way, to use that feature, and as a personal app in a left-hand menu. For model-driven apps, Dynamics 365 app, and for portals, we have to use a website. Okay, what next? Next is very important feature. So context. This feature was introduced in March 2020, I think, so it's quite new, and it allows us to connect to current team, current channel, and get information about team or channel, and use that information inside our PowerApp. So I will show you what we can use. We can use param function. So it's well-known function. We can, using param, we can get any information from our PowerApps URL. But for this, for context, we have special parameters for param. So we have local channel ID, channel type, chat ID, group ID, host client type, sub-entity, team ID, team type, team, and user team role. So there's 11, or I think, yeah, 11 parameters for param. And I think the most important is group ID. I will show you later why, but it's very important and very helpful. So now go back to our demo, and I will. Okay, so how to use param and what we can achieve using param. If I go to my, I will remove this one. Okay, and remove this website, it's not needed here. Okay, so we have our M365 Philly PowerApp, and it shows some text. Okay, but if without context feature, the only parameters or contact with external world was or is getting current user. So I can get, if I go button, no button, label. So I can get here and there, and say full name. And Marcin, so that's true. That's my name, or I can get email. So it will show my email on this specific tenant. But that's the only way we can get some information automatically from external world. So we can get current user, maybe current item from SharePoint if we use this in SharePoint context, but that's all. So that's, well, pretty stupid app. It doesn't know anything about Teams that we're using it. But using param, we can get context information about a specific team and specific channel where we embedded our PowerApp. So currently we are in M365 Philly. I will make it a little bigger. M365 Philly team, and inside general channel. So if I go to my PowerApp, and I will add some label here, and I can type param, and this I've got maybe local, or no, group ID. Yes, there's my, yeah, there's my, okay. So I add this, it's not visible. Okay, I will add some border to not miss that one. Okay, where is it? Sorry. Okay. So as you can see, there's nothing. It's empty because this PowerApp isn't connected to any team, but we ask it here for group ID of our team. Okay, and I will add one more label. So I will copy this one and to my channel. That's my Okay, so I have two params, group ID and channel ID. So I now publish this changes and go back to my Teams and refresh that app. Okay, we're waiting for this. And here we are. Now this Power App displays two labels. First, it was a group ID. So this is my Office or Microsoft 365 group connected or used by this team. And the second one is internal channel ID. So we can get context, so we can get information about current team, current channel, and many others that inside or that we can use in our para. So I will go back to my. I will copy my. This one is yeah, okay. I will copy all of those simple table with all of these parameters. Good. User team providers an error. Okay. So I can save, publish it, and we will be able to see every type of param of context in our team. So I will refresh that Power App. Okay, refreshing. Okay, it's loading now. And here we go. There's a full list. The last one, team name, is my custom parameter. So don't look at it, but we have local, so we can see that there's English. We have channel ID, channel type, so it's regular. It's not private. We have chat ID, group ID. And for me it's very the most important parameter, because using group ID we can get additional information about that team. We have host client type, so there's web, because I'm using web browser to enter my team, sub entity ID, team ID, and team ID. As you can see, there's it's not GUID, it's logger ID, and it's internal team ID. We have team type, team, so it's default. If I switch my if I switch my team to dark and refresh that app, as you can see, that team is dark. So using this parameter, we can modify colors or background colors of our app to make it consistent with user settings. Look simple, but using this, we can make our app consistent. So it's very important. And user team role. And going back to but there's no team name, as you can see. There's no M365 field. There's only group ID, team ID. Team ID is very long. Group ID is classic GUID characters. So, but there's no team ID. If we want to get team ID, we can create a simple flow in Power Automate to get our team name. Where's my Power Automate? Okay, I've already prepared that flow. My flows. Okay. Okay, come on, please load. And it's very simple. So I pass. So there's Power. So the only thing that I'm doing here is I get information about group ID from my PowerApp. Using this group ID, I get all information about current team and send it back to my PowerApp. And that's why you should always, or in most of the cases, use group ID, because it is a group ID of Microsoft 365 group behind that team. That's very important. Using that ID, we can get all information about our team. Okay, if we go back to here and I can connect my team. I think, okay, there's my ready to use. Okay, so it's very quick, very easy. I set a variable VRB team name, sent to my Power Automate group ID and get team name as a result. So I will copy this out here and make it on my on start. And in here I will get back my team name. Save, publish, and we'll check the result. Okay, load, refresh again. Not. Okay, there's something. Oh, as you can see, there's the flow was triggered, and we have our team name, so M365 Philly. So it's very important, because using this name, we can add some logic, add internal logic to our PowerApp. Think about this use case. You can create one generic PowerApp for your teams, or let's say project teams. So you have multiple project teams, 10, 100 or 1000, doesn't matter, and create only one PowerApp. And using this context, using group ID and team name, you can create connection or mapping between team name and some additional information from your project list or project database. And based on that, you can automatically you can filter by default data that user will be able to see on each team. So I can create, say, a risk assessment application for my projects, add this PowerApp to each team, each project team, and then when user will enter my PowerApp, the PowerApp will automatically filter data and shows only data related to that project. The second very obvious use case is that we can create PowerApp that automatically fill some forms, so forms fields based on project or based on team name or maybe channel name that we start this out PowerApp. So we can use context in many different ways. So you can go and play with those parameters, check what you will get on different type of teams in private channels, on standard channels, on different type of teams, if it's private, org-wide, or public, and play with it, find useful use cases for yourself. But it's very important and very easy. And one more thing, if we go back to our Power Automate, my flow, get information about all of this Okay. So as you can see, if we use Teams connector in Flow, there's no group ID. There's always team ID and internal ID. So there's small inconsistency between this naming convention. So we have group ID and team ID, but in Flow connector to Teams, we have team ID, but it refers to group ID in PowerApp, and internal ID refers to team ID in PowerApp. So it's different names, but so you should keep an eye on this. So team ID in Flow means group ID in PowerApp. So this is very important to know, to not check team ID, not to look for ID in Flow based on team ID. Only use group ID. You can also ask classic group connector, but that's the story for some other session. Okay, so but what will happen if because it works pretty good, easy to use, but what will happen if I go back to my there's advanced, yes. And if I add my PowerApp as website. Okay, this one. Good. So I will get URL to my PowerApp and add it as website. Okay, and as you can see, using website connector for PowerApps, website app, we won't get any context information. That's the main reason to not to use website for Canvas PowerApps, because all of this information simply will be empty. So we won't be able to use context to get a team name or any other context parameters from our team, from channel, etc. So it's only available in PowerApps app for Teams, not for websites. Website doesn't support this. Okay. Okay, so that's about context. Now, packaging and more advanced way to integrate Teams with PowerApps or PowerApps in Teams. And because there's packaging and there's managing part, but globally from Teams Admin Center. So I can close my this one, this Power Automate. Okay, if I go to my PowerApps and details, there's okay, where's my okay, I must open quickly an admin center for my for my Teams. Okay, Teams, where's Teams? Okay, it's loading. So this is the Teams admin center. I can configure a lot of stuff here, policies, settings, etc. But we want to focus on Teams apps. So we have Teams apps. We can first we can create a policy that allows us to allow users to use third-party apps or Microsoft apps or block specific apps. As you can see, there's some kind of 365 QA application and it's blocked. So we can manage each third party on Microsoft applications one by one, or we can do it globally. So if I go to this using policies, if I go to this policy, I can say or configure Teams to maybe block all applications from Microsoft and or for third party and custom apps, and use for Microsoft I can allow specific apps. Let's say our PowerApps. So with these settings, I can specify which application user can use in Teams. So if I go to my team as a user, if I click plus button, I will get only list of allowed applications approved by my admin. And also using this feature, I can manage my PowerApps application, not only PowerApps as core container for my PowerApp inside, but specific application. Go back here. If I go to my Philly, if I go to my settings, that's okay. I can preload it for Teams to better performance, but I can also go there and export it. Oh, that's not here. Okay. So I can export this this PowerApp, this M365 Philly, as a package ready to use in Teams. There's maybe not the best description here, add to Teams, but if I click this one, I will make it slightly bigger. So this add to Teams. If I click this one, there is information that this application, this PowerApp, will be packed inside zip and download as zip file, so I can use it in my Teams. And there are two ways to use this zip file. I can go there to my apps. Okay. And there's a there is upload the custom app option. If I click this and I can specify any zip file, there's downloads, and this application will be uploaded to Teams, but only for myself. So I, as end user, I can create my own PowerApp, export it to zip file, and then upload it to Teams. But it will I will get this only for myself. But using Admin Center, we can go there for Teams apps and manage apps. There's plus button with upload. So I can select the file. Let's say this downloads, and this my M365 Philly. Open it, and it will upload my If I go there and search, M365 Philly uploaded to my Teams and ready to use as my application. And what's very important, I can use this PowerApp application in my policies. So if I go and create maybe a new policy, let's say sales team policy. So I can block all other applications and allow my users, my sales employees. It's not yet available, but it should be in custom app. Sorry, custom app. Yeah, I can add this one. Hello. Okay. So it will be visible in custom apps. So I can allow my sales team to use only this M365 custom PowerApps application in my tenant. So we can create granular policies, very detailed policies for our tenant, for our users. And what's else here? So we can create policy to allow users to add our PowerApps, to upload these PowerApps. So we can upload PowerApps using this manage apps settings, and we can upload as many PowerApps as we need. Then we can create permission policies in permission policy settings. So you can create multiple policies and assign these policies to, not here, sorry, to users. So you can create our sales team policy and assign it only to sales users, sales people. So we have full control over this specific PowerApp application. And we can also create setup policies. So we can automatically add our PowerApp in left-hand navigation. So let's say this was M365 filling. Okay. So this is here. Say move up as a first place. So modifying or creating a new setup policy, we can modify end user left-hand navigation. So if I save this one, each end user or each user in my tenant, in my Microsoft 365 tenant will get this M365 Philly PowerApp application in first place in his or her left-hand menu. Okay, it requires some time to propagate, so I'm not sure if we get this soon enough, but let's see. Not ready. Okay, but we will check it in a few seconds. Not yet, but it will appear within a minute, maybe more, but it will be as a first application. And one more thing here, and very important, using left-hand menu for our PowerApps, we can't use context features because it's not connected to any channel and a team. So it won't get any context from channel or team. So context, we can use context only in Canvas apps, in Teams or in Teams. So it's not available for left-hand menu. Okay, refresh one more time. Not ready, but it will appear here soon. And of course, you can create a dedicated policy for sales team now, let's say, and do the same. So create policy, add your custom PowerApp application here, and assign this policy to users. So here and manage users, and I can add users that I need to. Okay. So using packaging and managing globally from Teams Admin Center, we can import, enable, or disable specific PowerApps. We can assign permission policies. We can create setup policies, so it is visible in left-hand menu or not visible for some users. So that's all from my side, but there's also a few key takeaways. So please remember to use embed as a tab for your Canvas application because it has a lot of features like context features. Use context because it's a great feature and you can enhance your PowerApps really great way. And your PowerApps can be centrally deployed and managed by your team admin center. Okay, so if you have any question, please type them on Q&A panel. If not, please give us feedback about this virtual event and of course about my session. I will appreciate it. Okay, so if do we have any questions?
There are a couple in the chat, Marcin.
Okay. Oh, a couple. Oh, good. How would this work with the Teams mobile version? External users are the Teams. Okay, what about a mobile version? I tested it and tried this on a mobile version, and it worked the same. So you can add PowerApp as a additional tab, and it will render because it's ready to use for mobiles. External users are on the team. Yeah, that's the. But if you add some external user to your team, you can of course share your PowerApp to those users. If you won't share, they won't see anything. Can you share with Office 365 group that the team is based on? Yes, I can share it. Yes, PowerApps I can share. Of course, so that's easy to propagate PowerApp to entire group or team. But if I use Teams admin center and I create a new policy, I'm not able physically to share to entire group. I can only select or share it to specific users. There's pretty simple PowerShell script to share PowerApp in Teams for entire group, but you can do this only using PowerShell. There's no native feature, but it should be changed in future, but currently it's not available. But from PowerApp portal, yes, it's possible. Okay, so 3 questions, 3 answers. If you have any other question, you can reach me on my email, on LinkedIn, Twitter. I will answer any other or help you in your issues. Okay, if you don't have any other questions, big thanks to our sponsor and big thanks to you to attend my session and to attend this virtual event.
Marcin, thank you very much. We'll prep for the next person coming up.
Thank you very much.
Schedule.